So I'm going to do a sermon on judge not lest you be judged. And this is one of my absolute all-time favorite verses in the Bible. And people, when they say to me that I'm judging them, I have no right to judge you. I'm a sinner too. I've done probably worse things than you did. That's what makes me a good representation of the gospel, is that I can be forgiven. And that's kind of what it means. You know, it's like we're not to look at a person's past and make judgments about them. We're not to look at them and say, oh, you're a bad person because you did X, Y, and Z. Because some of the worst people in the world, they've never done anything illegal in their life. They're just bad people. Some of the best people in the world, like Paul, might have committed some pretty nasty things, or David even. David raped, murdered, and committed adultery with Bathsheba. So we have to understand that God is a God who judges the heart, not actions. Because if we were, let's put it honestly, if we were never forgiven for what we did, we'd have no reason to do what's right. So we always have to look at people like they're a blank slate. That's what judge not lest you be judged means. And is remove not the mote in your brother's eye when you have a log in your own eye. It can be just as flipped. Do not remove the log in your brother's eye when you have a mote in your own eye. Like, do not try to remove from your brother the mote or the log, because we're not the surgeon. We're not the physician. We can pray, but we're not going to be able to manipulate someone into a better situation. A lot of Christians, this is what they think that they have to do, is they have to save the world and save their friends and manipulate them into a better way of being. And that's judge not lest you be judged. It's if you're judging someone and you're manipulating them and you're trying to basically make their decisions for them, or you're saying you're a bad person, that's what God's going to judge you for. So, you know, in it, Jesus also says he who's forgiven of much loves more. Like, he who's forgiven of much loves much. So this is one of the most important things about Christianity, is it's kind of an offense. Christianity is a rock of offense for this reason. Not because we get to sin, but because Jesus forgives sinners. It means that the most heinous criminal in the world has just as much right to be saved as the most saintly person. And when you understand this, it makes a better understanding of Christianity, that we all have within ourselves a right to be made better by Christ. There's no one who's fallen too far away. As long as we have life in our lungs, we have a right to be made better through Christ's power. And it's Christ who heals. So I've done a lot of evil things. A lot of us have done a lot of evil things. Some of us have never done anything evil, and we're very judgmental for it. I have to say, the honest to goodness truth is, it doesn't matter. Paul was, in effect, a serial killer before he became a Christian. David killed a man, raped his wife, and then married her. So, you know, and that's what the Bible text implies. It's just a fact. Moses killed a man. So there's just a fact of the matter that this is the reality of the God we worship, is that he's one that's willing to pardon and forgive. If you can't accept that, then maybe you shouldn't be in the ministry. And I say that because if we are to judge our neighbor, we're going to be judged. If we're to sit there and look on our neighbor and cast shame and doubt upon them and make them feel inferior to us, well, they might have a scarred conscience from having done many evil things. You might make them feel like they can't be saved. And you can't let someone feel that way. You have to build them up. This is what judge not lest you be judged means. We have to build people up to make them stand. Not, as it says, take the mote out of their eye or the log out of their eye, but we have to be a friendly, compassionate bulwark for them. So that way they know, if I fall, I'm going to have this person that's going to love me regardless. That's the faith. Love covers the multitude of sins. My love for you covers your sins, and your love for me covers my sins, and my love for you also covers my sins, because I won't be held accountable if I just find love. And love takes into no account a wrong suffered. Love does not judge. So that's what it means. It's not easily provoked and doesn't take into account a wrong suffered. But he's saying when you take into account a wrong suffered, that's judgment. You're not to judge. Simply put, do not judge. It does not mean that we don't go out and preach against sin. Two different things. We do preach against sin, but we don't judge. And the world will say, you're preaching against sin, that's judging me. It's like, no, love, I don't hate you. I don't think you're a bad person. By all means, I've done much worse things than you did. It's just the fact that what you're living in right now, it's going to send you to hell, so I have to tell you the truth. And that's what you have to understand.